I mean desires you, she'll do these things. So listen up until the end and stay tuned. If you're joining me live, welcome. Come into the conversation, drop your comments and questions below, and stay to the end because I got something really special for you, a little treat. So you don't want to miss out on that. So, one main point here that a woman who secretly wants you, remember I said secretly, that's the key word here, is that she's going to give you subtle cues. Remember, women aren't as direct as men, especially when it comes to this, because they want to seem seductive and attractive. And most of all, they want you to basically make the first move as far as like the direction. So she's going to give you subtle cues to let you know that, and you want to be aware of these. And this is the problem because most men don't pay attention to this. You're just not aware, especially my introverted men out there may completely go over your head. So you end up being friend zoned eventually, or you just come off as clueless and scared. And so that instantly kills the attraction, and she'll move on to the next and just keep you in the friend zone because you're a good guy and she still wants you in her life. But masculine men always claim and they always state what they want and they're direct with it, hands down. So if you are struggling with this is your playbook. So, like I said, she's going to do and express subtle cues through her femininity and through her body. Women like to express creatively with their bodies in some way, shape, or form when they are like dating you or in a relationship with you. Hopefully, the passion and the spark doesn't die out. So, if she's continuously interested and attracted to you and wants you to pay her attention, she's going to do these three main points that I'm talking about. And these are not the only points, but this is something to kick you off, right? And pattern interrupt so that you can be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I totally missed it. So, one thing she's going to linger around longer, probably longer than is needed, right? And I'll give you an example of this. Like, say you're in a grocery store or like a liquor store and you see a woman in the aisle, in the same aisle with you. Well, she's not going to just grab what she wants and then leaves. She's maybe put her basket down. She's going to look around. She may look at you a few times to make a little subtle eye contact and maybe even smile and then come back to looking at what she's originally looking at because of course one, she doesn't want to come off needy and desperate, and that's the subtle sign that, I think you're kind of cute, he's hot, maybe if I do a little bit of this, he will come over and talk to me. And in the same example, she may say something like, oh my God, there's so many olive oils to choose from. Like, I can't even make a decision. Or there's so much wine here to choose from. Like, I'm not sure what to get. She may say that out loud. And you may be standing in the aisle like, this doesn't make sense. Why the hell does she say that out loud? But she's giving you a verbal and a subtle body cue that she wants to start a conversation, right? That she wants to engage. And if you're close enough and you hear it, that can be your opportunity to comment, to jump in, maybe even to say something funny, you know? Because women love men who are funny, who have humor. That's why so many comedians who don't look, good physically pull women because they got the gift of gab. They know what to say. They know how to make a woman laugh, and humor brings joy and helps a woman to be in her feminine and to let go and relax. It actually removes the guarded barrier. So remember things like that. So at that point, you can say something to her, even if it's just casual, fun, and flirty. Don't think too much about it because certain men in that situation would freeze and fear would kick in, and they would be all in their head instead of being like being able to respond right away with some like witty banter to get her attention, right, and to start the conversation. So, something to think about when you're out there meeting women in person, because I encourage you to talk and meet women in person, but she's going to give you these subtle cues. Also, in the same example, if you're in a grocery store or a liquor store, she may actually come up to you and ask you for help, like, especially if you're tall, right? She may be like, "Oh my God, I can't reach that thing. Do you mind getting that for me?" I'm not tall enough to get it. So she might ask you to get something off the shelf to open up conversation. And you want to pay attention when you get the thing and give it to her, because is her body language open? Is her chest open? Is she moving a little bit closer towards you? But that's in my second point. So this is her way of lowering the barrier so that you don't have to be intimidated, so that you can step in with confidence, with your masculine edge, and start the conversation. And then that's up to you how you continue it, because then she's going to want you to lead the conversation. And that's an opportunity to have a little banter with her, have a little fun conversation. And she might like, I'll tell you that in a minute. But pay attention to those cues when you're talking to her if you do open up the conversation, not if, when you do. And then towards the end of the conversation, when you want to end it, shoot your shot. Ask her for her number, not her social media handles, none of that. Ask her for her number so you can have a direct way to contact her. Very important. Make sure you get it. Even if you don't want to like write it down, or you may be, concerned that you might not write the correct number down, give her your phone. If she says yes, I'd love to continue this conversation, give her your phone so she can put in her name in the correct contacts, and make sure you ask her name when you're talking, because that's another thing that shows that you're interested in getting to know her and you're genuine. So, one, she's going to give you a subtle cue as an opportunity for you to open up a conversation and talk to her. And then, another point number two, which I was going to get into, you definitely want to pay attention to her body language, because it's going to be open. Right? If she is opening up to you, that's a clear sign that she's secretly interested, wants you, desires you, and at least likes how you look and the energy that you're bringing, to continue to say, "Hey, you're cute. Come talk to me." So, first and foremost, that a lot of men may not pay attention to, she's going to be pointing her feet directly at you. I know this is like, what? But notice if she's pointing her feet directly at you, because she's pointing her feet directly at you, she's like heart to heart. And obviously, then she's going to make eye contact. And the eye contact may linger a little bit longer than what is necessary, because that's an intimate place to be with anybody. And so she's not going to be looking away or looking around or looking at her phone and not paying attention. Her feet is pointed at you, and she might actually walk closer into you. I've definitely done this on a date with a man, like in the early stages, where I like cross my legs, and especially if I have on a dress, and lean in a little bit more to hear what he's saying, especially if it's actually interesting, So that's something to really be aware of. And obviously, if now you're starting to, right before you kiss her or make out, she may get a little bit closer. She may move her hips towards you, her shoulders, her chest, you know, and that's how you know, like, oh, this woman wants me. Like, I got this in the bag. So this is the playbook. Like, notice this, because women notice details. Men not necessarily might be as detail oriented, and we're wired differently in that way, and that's okay. You just got to be aware of these subtle cues so you don't miss out on those signals and miss out on the opportunity to keep it going, to move it to the next phase, because she's going to want you to lead. She's not going to be directly like, "You want to get out of here? Let's go, go to my house." Like, some women are like direct about that, but they're not going to be direct, right? More or less, they're going to want to come off as a lady and have you really start to make the first move. So you really got to notice her body, especially if you're dancing and she's like getting close to you. Like, say you don't know her, you didn't come somewhere to dance with her, but you're going to know that she's going to want, or she might be dancing sexy in front of you. If you're like with your boys, not in, or she's with her girlfriends, she might move towards or do something that's like sexy to have you pay attention and hold that attention on her, because she wants to feel like she's the only person in the room. And a feminine woman can actually do that when they walk into a room. That's the power of feminine energy. But you got to, and if she looks at you when she walks into a room and smiles and then turns away, you got to know these things, right? It's like playing chess, not checkers, and she's like the queen and she's like, okay, I made a subtle move. Checkmate. Now it's your time. I actually encourage you to learn the game of chess because it's going to help you lock in psychology to be able to handle a woman in a relational dynamic sense. And it can also help you in business. So just a little tidbit there. I dated a guy who was big in chess, and he he had a way, with like being able to deal with me and get what he wanted and speak it right and making different types of moves. So notice if she's like playing with her hair, she may laugh at something that's not necessarily really funny. She's going to play with her jewelry, especially if it's around here because she wants you like looking. She may play with her earrings. She may even mirror your moves and what you're doing. She may even touch her lips or put her hands by her lips, right? Lips are very seductive, especially women with like full lips, right? So notice these types of things because she's saying secretly, I'm interested, I desire you, I'm attracted to you, I want you. I'm like feeling the energy, and this is my way of doing it like a lady. Like imagine like back in the day when a woman would drop her handkerchief, that's telling the dude like, oh, I want you to come over here. So a gentleman would come and pick it up, give it to her, and that would start the conversation. Women are can be very calculated. They know what they're doing, but they're not going to respond to a situation like this like a man does, right? Because again, they want you to make the first move and lead, and they're going to see if you're going to do that. And if you constantly miss these signals, like I said, she's going to move on to the next because she's going to be like, okay, he's not picking up what I'm dropping, right? Right. Her handkerchief is like the body language. So she's going to be open heart, open chest, facing you, moving towards you, making eye contact. If you're on a date with her, continuing to always be interested in and keep that eye contact with you. And then, she'll hold that eye contact longer. Like that can be very seductive when, you're making, a woman is making eye contact with you. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's actually something to embrace and indulge in. And like I said, introverted men or shy men can definitely miss this. Even though you're introverted men are usually very observant, they may not make the first move. You may not make the first move if you're an introvert. So definitely, my introverted men out there, you have a place in dating, and this is a way a woman can like let you know that she's attracted to you. She wants you and she secretly desires you. So really stay aware of the body language because that's going to tell you everything. Hi, Ahmed. 100% this is true. Ahmed says, thank you, Ahmed, for chiming in and giving your masculine stamp on that, because a lot of men surprisingly don't realize this, and I understand, like, I'm not going to go deep on this, that the Me Too movement might have intimidated you, but we're through that now, and it got to the extreme and it got dramatic, but that's settling, and there's women out there that want you to come up to them and talk to them in person. Like, so remember that you don't have to be intimidated as long as you're genuine and not disrespectful and know how to handle this energy and a woman and grounded in your masculine presence and having that leader energy and bringing that to the table. you're not going to come off like desperate or trying to touch her and be creepy, because men who know, you know, can do this or want to do this will find the solution to like make it happen, basically. So it's nothing to be intimidated, but if you are intimidated and you're in fear around it, it takes practice. I always say this: doing these type of actions to create a different result or a result in general with a woman is like going to the gym. It takes practice and it takes you putting in the reps, but as you continue to put yourself out there and do it, it will get easier. Even if you're rejected, again, this talk is not tonight is not about rejection, but even if you get rejected, it's okay. It doesn't mean like you're not good enough or you're not worthy. Just again, practice and notice the signs. Like I said, women are very calculated, but they're not going to come out right and say like, "Oh, I like you and I want you to pay attention to me and like my boobs out," you know? So I'm making fun to be cheeky, but like notice these things. And if she is standoffish or has an attitude, or her arms crossed and she's kind of like she's not really present or not paying attention to you, you know that's not the target that you want. Okay? Right? Imagine your goal is to look for a certain target. That's not the woman that you want to talk to. That's not present, not paying attention, on her phone, not making eye contact with you. I feel like men can get this wrong because they just are so enthralled in like how hot somebody is. Pay attention to what she's doing and how she's being before you approach her, or if she's giving those subtle cues for you to approach her, right? Because you can't, it's hard to do that when you're like dropping in a woman's DM. So I want you to be aware of this. Now you can notice it too in a DM conversation with a woman. But the reason why I encourage you to get out there and talk to women constantly in real life, because that's reality, that's 3D, and you can see her. You can notice if you're even physically attracted to her, right? Because online, she can send you some pictures of her from like 5 years ago, right? And then you see her in person, y'all go out on a date. This actually happened to a client of mine. He was like, she looked nothing like her pictures, and he deaded the date honestly, because and gave her feedback because he was like, you weren't honest about how you look. Let's keep it real, men are visual, and you're going to approach a woman one based on how she looked, and women are visual too, like they don't want to admit it, but how do you know they're going to like somebody based on just, oh, his personality? You don't know anything about that if a man is just standing there. But if he's put together, well groomed, in a nice suit, looks good, and then holding that leader energy, then right, she's gonna be like, I want him, I want to talk to him, I want him to come talk to me, right? But it's based obviously off look, and then she can start to read your energy if she's like is observing and you're working a room, or you start to connect with her in some way. So Ahmed says, let's practice getting out of our comfort zones. Amen to that. Come on, y'all. Like, you if you do this with women, it can transfer over, and you doing it with business, with finance, with working on your physique, with anything you want to do in life that you want to really go after and hit that goal, requires you to get out of your damn comfort zone. It's not going to be comfortable the first few times, especially if you haven't done it in a while, or maybe you got a divorce and you're getting yourself back out there, or you haven't been dating. You're going to be out of your comfort zone, but it's going to help you self actualize into the man you really want to become, or used to be, and you know, or and level up and get to that next level. And women are attracted to that. The most magnetic, attractive thing about a man is like confidence, is like, you know, he knows that he's on his game when he walks into a room full of people, right? Regardless if people are coming up to him or he's going up to people, it's still like that level of confidence. So that's something women sniff out, because, like, in our minds, we're looking for the king, right? The king of that jungle. That's how like female lions pick the king, like pick the mate, right? So it's the same way. We're still animals. And the last point I really want to make here, because I don't want to keep you up all night, unless you want to be here with me, you know, drop a comment below, your questions below. I'll stay with you. is she's going to invest, right? And she's going to invest in keeping that interaction alive. So that's from the first time you meet her to if you start to call her up, get to know her, date her. She's going to laugh at the little things that not may not always be funny. She's going to mirror your movements if you're talking in real time, like you're in front of her at a social event or even on a date. She is going to find an excuse to ask you for help, right? Maybe find an excuse to suggest seeing you in person, because you want to pay attention to that too. Women suggest things a lot because they might not come out right out and say it because they want you to make the effort and be the leader and make the initiative. So notice if she says, "Oh, you know, that restaurant that we passed the other day, like I've always wanted to go there. Like I heard it's like a good spot. It has good food, great atmosphere." Like you want to know if she's dropping that, and she's saying it 9 times out of 10 because she wants you to take her there and she wants to experience it with you. So that's another way to like interact and have you come back to see her again. So you want to notice these things. These are secret points that like she's saying, I like spending time with you and I want to be around you. I want to be around you more. I want you to take me out more. I want to have these experiences with you. So something you want to stay very aware of, very, very aware of, because if you're not on this like right away, you will be friend zoned or she'll move on to the next, right? Because at the end of the day, even if she's an average looking woman, somebody is checking for her, you know, and she keeps herself looking well, somebody is checking for her. So be aware of that. This makes the difference between a man who knows what he wants and knows what to look for versus the one that's like sitting in the corner complaining or complaining about his circumstances with women instead of changing himself and up leveling to get the results that he wants. But like I said, those men too, they tend to miss the target, right? Like, so remember that you want to hit the appropriate target. So don't bother talking to some woman who's not going to pay you attention. I know men like a challenge, but she's got to give you something, right? She's got to give you something. Eye contact, smile, something, a laugh, right? Something, a look, even if you're like standing beside someone at a bar and she like looks at you and smiles and go back and talks to her girlfriends or giggles, like she know she's letting you know that she's checking for you, okay, in some way, shape, or form. But she's not gonna say, "I'm checking for you, come here and talk to me," because that's boring too, right? That's not allowing you to get out of your comfort zone anyway. So that's just like, this is why men who pick the pick me girls and something that's convenient, it doesn't last, because like she's probably needy and desperate and lowering her standards to like even be in the situation. So but you will be able to filter that once you take it, after you get her number and stuff. You may not be able to tell that right away unless she's just throwing herself at you. And some men will take that and eat it up, but and that can be fun for a limited amount of time, but it's easy. So, and it's convenient. So it gets boring very quickly and it dies out, right? And you move on to the next. So, if you're looking for quality women to bring into your life, to talk to get to know, she's going to do it this way. She's going to do it secretly. She's going to do it in a flirtatious, tasteful manner. But again, she's saying, like, I like you. I want to spend time with you. I'm attracted to you. I want to have sex with you. Like I'm saying, like, even if you're in a situation where, um, you all start making out or whatever, she's going to move closer to you. She's going to do something to tell you, like, I want to continue this experience. So notice that. Ahmed said, easy and convenient is not always good. I agree. Like, it tells you so much about a woman when she's easy and she's convenient. And is that somebody you really want to like partner with, or you want to become your wife or your girlfriend, or that you want to continue to take out on a few dates? I mean, easy and convenient. She doesn't even necessarily need to like go out in a date. She'll just come over and be available. And like I said, that gets boring because I know and you know deep down inside, men like a challenge. You're natural born hunters. So you do want to pursue, you do want to chase a little bit, and you do want to acquire. I shouldn't say it like this, but this will make sense to your brain, like acquire something that is not easily attainable. And of course, if I was talking to women, I would word that completely different, but this is a safe space and I'm gonna keep it real with you. So I'm saying that because I know it's going to land with you when you listen to this. So go out there and hunt and be your confident masculine self, right? Because that's going to keep her coming back, right? You got to understand a female psychology around different things like this. That's why I said learn how to play chess, because it teaches you the psychology of people and how to move the pieces on the board where you're leading, and they don't even know, they don't even realize when you end up checkmating them, right? And you keep the poker face when you do like that. Or this is or learning how to play poker as well. It's like the same thing. So notice these things. It's very important, and it's going to have you get a different result if you're aware of these things. Be, you know, so like I said, if you're looking for a quality feminine woman, if this is over DM, she's going to be more flirty. She's going to respond to you. She's going to want to keep the conversation going, because the next step you would be asking her to get off that platform and get her number. And I actually encourage men to do that as quickly as possible, because women don't want a pen pile. We have women friends. Like, that's what we can do that with our women friends. Like, if you're interested and she's interested in you, she doesn't want to write you for messages on end, especially if you're meeting her on a dating app, which I don't really encourage men to like stay on because you don't get the best ROI, return on your investment, for the money that you're putting in. I'm being real with you on that. So something to consider. But if you're going to date online, I also say do the hybrid and don't just put all your money on that, right? It's like investing in stocks, bonds, things like that. You want to diversify. So you diversifying is like, yep, I'll date online, but I'm not going to depend on that. I'm going to go out and meet women in person. And I feel like you get better results and you're able to filter women very quickly. And in these day and ages, people are making fake profiles of women, of being a woman or whatever, trying to scam men out of money. So that's the risk of like online dating. And I would say take that risk, know how to read people so that you can know if you're being played or this woman is trying to scam you in any way. But it's a bit safer, even if it's out of your comfort zone, to talk to women in person and to date them in person and to meet them the first time in person. Because then, like I said, you're visual. You get to see how a woman really looks. You can't tell that for real on a dating app in the 2D. And you can instantly get to know her and know what she's into and what she's about by asking her organic questions in person. It will instantly let you know, her values, her core values, her standards, what she's into, what type of work that she does, if that matters to you, what her passions are. You can like get that information at speed lightning if you want, instead of having to go back and forth, wait for her to answer you, whatever. So Ahmed said, no pen pals, easiest way to friend zone. Exactly. Like I've had I've had my girlfriends like complain about this. Like, dude didn't even like ask me out on a date. He hasn't asked me for my number. We're just constantly writing back to each other. So then the polarity can't stay up. And when I say about the polarity, that's the dance between masculine and feminine energy in relational dynamics. You can only keep that up for so long, especially if you haven't met them in person. It's different when you met a woman in person and the flirting starts right away. You can continue that banter over text, but I encourage you to call, to talk on the phone, to make the effort in that way, to FaceTime, to do things like that too. And I'm saying this for women that you like, that aren't easy and convenient, that you know this is a quality woman. I want to invest and get to know her. She's giving me those cues. She wants to invest. So stay aware, stay focused, and stay clear on the appropriate target as far as like the woman that you want to pick to talk to. So to go back to what I said, remember, number one, she's going to create opportunities to engage with you. You know, number two, body language, very important. She's going to give you secret cues in through her body, because women like to express through their bodies. That's femininity. That is intuitively, we're very in tune with our bodies and how we want to express that, right? That's why women like love dance and love moving and movement, right? And if she's really connected with her femininity, she's definitely going to express that, not just by the way she looks, but how her energy is, and definitely through her body. So pay attention through the with those subtle cues. You can tell instantly if she's a lady or if she's someone who's easy, convenient, needy, desperate, a pick me girl, or somebody you can like instantly create a situationship with, right? Which is not going to necessarily help you grow. Like I said, it can be fun, but it's easy. And like Ahmed said here, easy and convenient is not always good, right? And if she's toxic, that adds a different energy into the mix that can just give you a headache. So, something to remember, like it may not always be worth it. So you gotta look at if the cons are outweighing the pros in this whole game of dating, right? And relationship. Can we address organic questions again? I want to have engaging conversations. Yeah, I actually have a short of, I want to make a longer video on this, but I actually have a short on this that I think I list like 5 questions you can ask. And a man did ask me this yesterday in a live because, you know, somebody asked me something and I was like, you're not interviewing me. I'm not on an interview. That would instantly make a woman go dry. You get my point right away. If you're asking her questions like she's being interviewed, it's just like, okay, dude, you're not original or authentic at all. It maybe even sounds like you're coming off on a script. So I would say, excuse me, I would say ask her questions where you can find out her core values and what she's into. I said that last night on a live. Act interested instead of interesting. And what I mean by that, ask the organic questions and be really interested and pay attention. Instead of it making the conversation just about you, you can lead the conversation through your leadership energy, but don't constantly talk about yourself and ask her nothing, right? So one simple thing you can do that's not necessarily a question, but you can weave in a compliment as long as it's genuine and respectful, and even take it further with a question like, I love that dress that you're wearing. You know, it, you look great in that color. Is that like your favorite color? Or, you know, what made you put that on tonight? Because it's fitting in all the right places. You look amazing. You look beautiful. You know, so things like little things like that. You know, you can ask her where she's traveled, places that she wants to travel. If she had, ask her if she has traveled, right? In the places that she's gone. Try to think of things that are completely opposite of it being like corporate and stale, you know? Maybe she laughed at a joke and you can be like, oh, do you like comedy? I see you're like laughing a lot. Do you like comedy? Do you go to comedy shows? Like what comedians are you into? You know, things like that. You know, ask her, like I said, about anything dealing with her values so you can get to know. you can get to know, depending on where you are in the stage of meeting her. Like, you don't want to ask right away, does she want children, or how many kids she has, or if she does want children, how many does she want? Like, that's something later when you start investing in each other. But you can ask her little things, keep it fun and flirty. Like, if what it is, there something like you always wanted to do that you never told anybody that you really want to do, and it can be a little flirty when you say that, right? So you can ask her things like that, like to find out her passions, what she's into. Does that make sense? Ahmed, that's a great, great, great question. But I do have a short about that as well. And you can keep it even more flirty, like, give me a name of 2 or 3 people that's out in the public eye that you like secretly are attracted to or want to like. This is taking a chance, so you can say like secretly are attracted to or had a crush on if you want to keep it like a little bit more respectful. But you can also say like you want to bang or like have sex with or something like that, if you feel like it's appropriate to ask that, because also you want to remember not to jump to like things that are highly sexual or sensual, because that will instantly shut a woman down and have her think, oh, this dude just wants to have sex with me. So, like, actually, women don't like when you ask, send me a picture of you, right? And if she says no, she has standards. Or if she says, like, I'd rather see you in person, don't be creepy like that, because she's instantly going to think, like, why does he want a picture of me? Does he want to, like, jerk off to it later? Like, so that can come maybe later on when she's feeling safe with you, when she trusts you, when she gets to know you. And she may actually send that on her own, like, I'm at the gym, or she'll send you like a sweaty selfie, things like that. You can be like, oh, you know, you look great. Like, what's your workout routine? Like, what gym do you go to? Like, what are you into? Like, women who will like take care of themselves and are physical in that way, they're gonna tell you, you know or if you end up dancing with her or whatever, you can say something like, I really like your moves, like, it was hot, like, where'd you learn all those moves, things like that. So learn how to weave in the organic questions that are respectful, that are genuine, but that are not corporate or interview questions. Sorry, I was distracted by your lovely lips. You're so funny. Thank you. That's not a question. That's not something to say unless you say it really clever. It may be something like, oh, I'm sorry, I was distracted by your beauty, right? So that's can be something that's cute that you turn into like flirty, and a little bit of banter to go back and forth to open up like flirting, very lightly, very light. You want to keep it light, you want to keep it flirty, but you want to keep it interested in her. And then, oh, I didn't actually make this point. As far as her keeping the engagement going, she's going to ask you small little questions to keep the conversation going about you as well. That's another way you can secretly know that she's into you, that she wants you, especially if she like asks you like, oh, you have a great build. Like, where do you work out? I'm loving those biceps, or something like that, right? You want to know, okay, she's checking me out, right? She wants this physically. But that's something to tuck into your pocket and not come out and say something blatantly sexual, over sexualized. Because, like I said, a woman, especially that doesn't know you and haven't built that trust and safety yet, she's going to shut down, because she's going to be like, dude only wants to smash, and he's being too overly sexual, and that completely can turn a woman off who is quality, who's feminine. So something to be aware of. Weave it in tastefully. That can add to the polarity, because it can create sexual tension, but you got to know when to do it. And then, as she continues to drop these cues constantly, that's when you can like get more witty with the banter, with the sexual tension, and keep that flowing. And also, tell her like, I like you, I'm into you, I'm attracted to you, like, you're sexy. And not just for that, I like you because I like who you are. So things to be aware of. Travel questions are great. One guy asked me last night, like, oh, women these days know geography. I'm like, yes, if she's a well-traveled woman and she likes to travel or she's traveled before, she's going to be well versed in geography. So be aware of that. And even if she hasn't traveled before, but she has researched places and knows geography, she's going to let you know those things, especially as you continue going deeper with her and y'all start dating, because she's going to mention and suggest things that she possibly wants to travel with you. So something to be aware of. And if you are struggling with being aware of these signals, or you're missing the signals completely, and you are tired, confused, just clueless, or frustrated about why you keep being friend zoned, this is what I help men with and help them to course correct it more or less faster, right? In the masculine confidence audit. And that's just basically like a 60-minute coaching call where I help you become aware of these things, also help you notice your past relational dynamics so that you can be aware of how that's been affecting you, and also so you won't continue to bring it in a new dating situation or a new relationship. And first and foremost, we uncover what's blocking you. Because, like Ahmed said, this requires you getting out of your comfort zone. So it's going to require you stepping into your confidence, your masculinity. And masculinity is also about being present. So women like that. Women like when you're present, because it says he values me. He values my time, my energy, and the fact that I'm investing in him like he's invested in me. Very important. That's why a lot of women say, oh, you don't listen, blah, 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 blah. Be present. Listen to her. You might not even get every word, but nod, laugh, smile, eye contact, very important. Not being on your phone while she's talking, things like that you want to be aware of. And if you're a businessman and you are leading, or you have a high powered job or career or your own business, you can say like, oh, I gotta answer, Ted is like contacting me for something, give me a second, excuse me, let me just answer this email or text real quick, this is important. She's going to understand that, because she understands like that's going to come with the territory, or in being in dating and being in a relationship with a powerful man, or a man who has a powerful position somewhere in his career or in life. So she's going to understand that. But you just start texting while she's talking, she's going to be like, why isn't he paying me any attention? Or her little girl is going to come out too. So notice that. So be present, grounded. That's what masculine men do, because they know what they want. So they're intentional about everything that they do, even when it comes to just, okay, I need to pay attention and be aware. So if you're interested in that, you can click on the link below. I'm going to drop it in the description under this video once the replay loads, and you can buy that right away. It's at a special price right now, the first 5 men that book it, and then it's going to increase and go up, because I want to work with men always who want to put some more skin in the game, and that's you stepping out of your comfort zone too, to even like be coached. So, and it's always going to come from a woman's perspective, and I know that men here want that perspective, want that inside knowing of what the hell is going on with women, because we are complex. You are a little bit more simple, but we are complex in certain regards. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're picking up what I'm throwing down, you can click on the link below and you'll be able to go right in and buy it. And then you'll get an email from me to be able to schedule that call right away. So if you had a good time here, you're welcome to like this video or subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for another live and a juicy conversation that's spitting truth and knowledge, so that you can, be aware of these things with women, and also to help just change your mindset around women and life, relationships in general. And like I said, knowing these things and being skilled in this area can transfer over, into your life in other ways. So if not, I'll see you in the next video. If I don't see you in the next live, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Ahmed, for being here and chiming into the conversation. I'll see you soon. Ciao.